folks willing to get knocked down and come back?
I think the governor really has been a failed leader for the state.
Back again for a rematch against Governor McKee. My guest today, Helena Foulkes, Democrat, campaigning for her second time to be the governor of Rhode Island.
Holding the powerful accountable from Washington, D.C. to right here in southern New England. This is 10 News Conference with Gene Valicenti.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Gene Valicenti. This is 10 News Conference. My guest today for the whole half hour, Helena Foulkes, Democrat running for governor of Rhode Island. This is Helena Foulkes' second chance, second bite at the apple for this. Good morning, Helena.
Hi, Gene.
Nice to have you. Nice to have you back.
It.
We say you're back, but you never really left. Because right after you lost to Governor McKee, we'll get into the details of day of voting versus mail-in ballots. Sure. Right away I saw you on social media. You were popping up at fundraisers, sharing your views, so you never really left. You knew right away you wanted to run again.
Maybe took me 2 days, but yeah,
2
I
days.
knew right away.
Okay.
I knew right away.
Right.
Yes.
What's different this time around? You beat him day of voting.
I did.
But he got you with the mail-in and the early.
Yeah.
Have you tuned up your game this time with that?
Well, I think the thing I've really done is had an amazing chance to meet with a bunch of people and listen and learn. And when you're thrown into a race, it was 11 months for me.
Okay.
I would walk in rooms and people wanted me to talk. This time round, I've just had a chance to listen. And so really, that's the biggest difference.
What did they tell you, Helena? What was the criticism?
I would say that what they're telling me is they feel squeezed and pressed and priced out of this state that they love. Honestly, I've done probably 75 gatherings in people's homes and kitchens. Yeah. And they almost never talk about politicians or policy. I mean, the bridge they do, and I know we're going to get to that. But really, they talk about just the feeling of, like, people my age, their kids are living back at home. They have college degrees. They can't afford a home. Kids getting sort of priced out of the rental market. So I think there's just so much economic stress. And then obviously in the last year, with Trump in the White House, that's just amped up.
Okay, I know you're going to talk about that, but you said you met with people post-mortem. They must have said, Helena, you did this wrong, or you didn't push back hard enough on this, or you didn't attack this early enough. So let's go. Come on, tell us.
Well, no, mostly what people say is, God, you just needed another week or two. And of course, there's always lessons learned.
Well, tell me, what are the lessons? What did you learn?
I think that for me, what I really learned, honestly, is to be my authentic self. I think the last 30 days of the campaign, I got a lot more comfortable. I was really far behind. I just said, I'm going to let myself go. And I went from 14% in the polls a month out to 30% on election day. And it was amazing. And so I'm just trying to keep that momentum and energy alive.
You didn't say to yourself, I have to do a better job with early voters. Mail-in ballots. He got me on that. I need to get the best experts so that my game matches his. You didn't think that?
Yeah. I had to think about my team. Yeah. I have a new team at the top. But also remember, the 2 debates, and yours was one of them, came very late. I understand, people tell me, I don't know if this is true, that the Board of Elections has never had as many phone calls as it got with people asking to change their early vote after they saw the debates. So there are a lot of things that tactically we'll do differently, but I would just say in general, I'm trying to listen to what people need and really reflect that. And I know I can be better. Every day I wake up saying, how can I be better? And so by having the chance these last 2 or 3 years to listen and learn, I think I've learned a lot from the folks who really need competent leader in this seat. Okay,
we're going to talk about everything, but we could begin chronologically, geographically, alphabetically. Let's begin news of the day. I read today that Gina Raimondo has been appointed to the Costco board.
She has.
And then I Googled Costco's board.
Yes.
And you come up. You're on Costco's board.
I am.
Did you pick her? Did you nominate her? Did you say, oh, yes?
I think Gina will be a great addition to the Costco board. She brings tremendous experience globally, especially. Costco has a global presence, and I really look forward to serving with her.
Wait a minute now. Hold on. There's more to this. You're on the board of Costco. Gina Raimondo's going to be on board of Costco. Did you call her? Did you approve it? And what is this all about? The two of you don't just pop up on a board without something.
Gina could serve on any board in the country, and she has been thinking about what she wanted to do next, and so we're happy to have her.
It's too much of a coincidence. No. Hold on. Is she with you now?
Oh.
I would read into that. Well, if she's on the board of Costco just like you, you two must be together. What does that mean?
Well, it means she's going to be a great board member, and it's an amazing company that does an incredible job serving its customers, taking care of its employees, and pushing back on Trump tariffs.
Is she with you?
Oh, I don't know, honestly.
You never had a conversation?
We
You
talk,
don't know?
we talk, but
Right.
you know, I think that what's more important to me, honestly, are the people of Rhode Island with me, and that's what I'm focused on.
And if she's with you, then she's not with Shekarchi, because he was her campaign manager, and he opened the door just a few inches the other day. Come on, let's connect the dots. You're not going to tell me that Gina Raimondo gets on the board of Costco with you, and it's just a coincidence.
Well,
just two talented people.
She is a very talented leader.
Right.
She'll be a great leader, and I'm looking forward to serving with
But
her.
you didn't engineer this? You didn't call her and say, I'll get you on the board, or what?
No,
Nothing?
there's no big story behind this. No,
Well,
there really isn't.
There is a story. There is something here.
No, it's going to be great to have her.
Why can't we get a Costco in Rhode Island, by the way? If you're on the board, why can't we get one?
I would very much like a Costco in Rhode
Why
Island.
can't we get one?
The company's working on it. I think we'll have one at some point.
Where's it going to go?
I don't know. We'll see. You
Well,
let me know where you think it should be.
Well, Cranston was always talked about.
Yeah.
I'm sure we could find a spot
Yeah.
for it.
Yeah, I'm
Is it
sure
gonna-
we can.
You can?
Yeah, I'm sure we can.
You're going to get us a Costco. I could win the election for you.
That and the bridge will win me the election.
All right, you want to talk about the bridge?
I do.
Okay, you want to get rid of Peter Alviti.
I do.
Right? You called for
Yes.
his resignation.
Yes, I did.
I think this is fair. You will go over the viaduct by the mall, the new viaduct, correct? The new 610 connector, the new stretch of Route 95 that's nice and smooth. The changing of the bridges over by 138 when you go to Newport, and on and on and on and on. Was Peter Alviti competent in doing all of that?
Well, there's a lot more money that has gone into it. So I think that the whole DOT has used that money very effectively from the federal government.
Okay.
And I certainly give them credit
Okay.
for things that have been improved. But if anyone in this state were in charge of the DOT with the Washington Bridge fiasco, they would be fired. So the job of the governor is to make sure that you have the best people around you who are holding your teams accountable. And every day, Gene, I just want to say, I talk to people who are stuck on both sides of that bridge. I mean, they're looking at that sign that says, "Thank you for your patience."
Right.
They don't feel patient. I talk to small business owners in East Providence. They used to get all these people that would come from Providence for lunch. That's gone away. People who are being affected by dropping their kids off at daycare. So it is a disaster. And it's not just because who knows really what went on in terms of the lead up to the situation. I'm really, really critical of how Governor McKee and Alviti handled the crisis after the fact.
Okay.
And so, you know, you look at our process to get a new contract. Westmore, 4 months to get a signed contract. Governor McKee and Peter Alviti, 18 months. And that's because they weren't willing to bust through the bureaucracy. And so they let the whole process drag out. They played politics because they wanted a new bridge built before the next election. And lo and behold, no one bid in the first 6 months of the RFP because of the penalties they put in place. And people are smart. People grab me on the street today and they say, "Thank you for saying that. Why is no one else talking about Director Alviti and the job he's done?"
Well, listen, you know what it's like to be measured on your successes and failures. So you came to Route 37, Route 37 to get here.
Yeah.
You have to take it to get
Yeah.
here. And that's all been fixed. All those bridges have been replaced, the viaduct, 610 connector. All of that was done competently, but the Washington Bridge is enough for you to say, throw all of that aside, he should go.
Yes.
You really feel that way?
Yes, very
All right.
strongly.
Okay. You don't buy the narrative that we hire inspectors to do the job and they didn't do their job. I'm going to sue them for that.
I thought that was laughable. I was offended by that. I really was. You know, if I were, when I was at CVS, we had a big system go down. I couldn't say to all the employees in our stores and the patients we were serving, "Sorry, not my fault. We had inspectors looking at it. We thought it was fine." I owned that. The governor owns that. Director Alviti owns that. You have to have a process in place to inspect the inspectors. And maybe we didn't know enough to do that before this, but the fact that Peter Alviti did not know the name of the person in charge of inspections, I was really offended by that.
I'm not here to defend Peter Alviti, but he has said on my radio show that person was 5 or 6 people down from me. It wasn't the top project manager, and he regrets not knowing that. But you can get him on that. You got him on that.
But after it happened, I mean, if I were the governor, the next day I would have had a meeting with Peter Alviti and whoever was in charge of inspections and said, what are we doing here? What did we learn? What else might be at risk? What are we going? And this is now 2 years later, and we still don't know that person's name.
If you become governor, you will scrap the lawsuit?
The lawsuit is fine to go on, but that's, when the governor
Well,
talked
now,
about,
just a minute. If you're
I would not
okay
scrap
with the lawsuit, that is
That's fine.
under the premise that we hired inspectors, they dropped the ball, we're going to sue them to recoup damages. You would let that go forward? Doesn't that show kind of a
No.
split personality?
No, not at all. I'd let that go forward. And I think it is really important when the governor talks about a day of reckoning.
Yeah.
When we all heard him say that, I don't think we all said it will just be a day of reckoning for the companies that were working on it. I understood that to be a day of reckoning for people in this organization.
Right. He says he regrets using that phrase. The governor said that to me on radio. But you would allow the lawsuit to go forward with the premise that the inspectors dropped the ball, we recoup damages. It wasn't the state's fault. And yet you say you're insulted by that as a premise, as a narrative. Square the two.
No, I'm fine with a lawsuit, whatever the people of Rhode Island can get. But I'm offended by the notion that you don't need to inspect the inspectors. I mean, that's just basic, running an organization. And look, we have to serve the people of Rhode Island, right?
Yeah.
This is just like anyone knows they'd lose their job if it were them. And so you just can't hide behind someone else. That was their job. This is your job when you're head of an organization, not just the DOT, the governor of the state as well.
I've got to go to a break, but make this clear. Are you offended by the narrative that inspectors we hired did not deliver the goods, we're going to sue them for damages? That's the premise of the lawsuit.
No, I'm fine with that. But I'm offended by the notion that you don't also oversee them.
Okay.
Because I think you have to take care of the people of Rhode Island.
All right, when we come back, let's talk about you at CBS and other things you've been doing in your life. Helena Foulkes is the Democrat running for governor of Rhode Island. Right back.
Thank you for turning to 10, your news leader. 10 News Conference with Gene Valicenti continues right now.
Welcome back, Helena Foulkes, Democrat running for governor, I guess, for the whole half hour today. Helena, you said you were chuckling over the Christmas tree story that was in the news yesterday on the radio. The governor had a private lighting, just in a couple of some kids from foster care, but no press and nobody because the protesters ruin it. Will you have a public Christmas tree lighting? And
Yes. I'm excited. I'm excited when I am the governor to have a public lighting of a Christmas tree, and we'll celebrate lots of holidays and religions, and I look forward to it.
You might get protesters.
That will be okay. Listen, I know,
but the governor says, well, they ruined it. We're reading the night before Christmas, and they're screaming, so he said, behind closed doors.
Yeah, he seems to have a problem with protesters. I remember last year at his State of the Union, he also didn't want to open up the rotunda to let people in, and, sometimes this is
being sued over that.
Yeah, exactly.
So you would have a public Christmas.
Definitely. Can't wait.
All right, let's go to some other items in the news. Will you or would you turn over all of the voter information rolls? I know that's up to the Secretary of State. Uncle Sam, White House, Donald Trump, they're demanding all of our voter information. They want to see everything, including the last 4 digits of a social, everything. And they say that's to root out waste, fraud, and abuse. If you become governor, would you say give them to them? No
way. I think what Greg Amori's doing is spot on. It's no need to hand any of that over, and I'm totally, there's no reason for it. No.
The administration says in red states that did turn it over, we uncovered 500,000 cases of waste, fraud, and abuse. Could you imagine if they got their hands on the blue stuff? Might be millions. Why wouldn't you do that?
I don't trust them at all, and I would never hand it over.
That's interesting. You used the word trust. You don't trust the federal government.
I don't trust
Where
Trump.
does that leave just the average voter when someone is running for governor?
Yeah.
Which is the government. You represent the government.
Yep.
You say, I don't trust the federal government. Isn't that a sad state to be in?
It's so sad. Look at what's happening with ICE. I mean, I agreed with Trump when he said we got to get rid of the gang members.
Okay.
We have to stop all this rush of immigration. But he's gone so far beyond that. He's terrorizing communities. People feel so unsafe. So we need a governor who will stand up to Trump, and I look forward to doing that.
When you say terrorizing, ICE says we're going after the bad guys. Making an arrest is never pretty. And law enforcement makes mistakes. You may preside over a state police that might make a mistake. Would you say, well, then get rid of them? You wouldn't do that.
Mistakes are mistakes, but
people are always arrested.
Yeah, but the quantity of this is over the top. And you have American citizens who are being terrorized. I do use that word, and it is. There are so many communities where people are leaving their kids home from school. They're not going out. They're not showing up at court. I mean, it is out of control. And we have to be creating an environment where people feel safe, and we do the right thing to go after the really bad guys.
Do you have any numbers to support that this is out of control? I assume ICE is going to say, look, we go after a bad person. It's a tough thing to do. And if they happen, by the way, they told us if there's an illegal in the room when I'm going after a bad person, I have to take them in too. Where is the terrorism come in? Because the ICE will say, we have to wear masks because people are terrorizing us. They're doxing our families. They're standing in front of our crews. Is this the other side of the story? Does it exist?
I just saw data yesterday that said half of the people that have been detained have had no record at all. So, and the percentage of people who have real tough criminal records is like 5%. Right. So it is beyond out of control. And it's just not even what Trump said he was going to do. The American people don't like this, and the people of Rhode Island deserve leaders who will stand up and fight for them. And I'm really happy the Secretary of State's doing that.
Would you encourage the notion that we're a sanctuary state?
I think we have to protect people, and we don't want our police force doing the jobs that they shouldn't be doing. They should be doing their own jobs. So, I think we've got to be doing everything we can to keep the people.
Are we a sanctuary state, and would we be one under your watch?
I don't know about the term sanctuary state, but
sanctuary state is we you know what that means. I mean, you follow the news. It's sanctuary state. Yeah. We don't cooperate. We make it hard. It's a place of sanctuary for an illegal immigrant. Would you encourage that use of that word, and would you make Rhode Island a sanctuary state?
I would do everything I can to make sure that we are protecting people, including people who are going through. I have a lot of friends who are going through a process to become citizens. They've been working on it for 10, 20 years.
They came in legally?
They didn't come in legally, but they are working here. They're paying taxes. They show up at court. And they are good people living in our state, adding to our economy, and those people we should be taking good care of.
Your immigrants came in legally. Why don't you say to your friends, go back, come in the right way, the door will be open, do it the right way. Right now you did it the wrong way.
I think if Congress passed some reform on that would be amazing. And in fact, the Democrats and Republicans were ready to do that last year, and Trump decided he didn't want to do it.
All right, one more question. This news this week, SNAP benefits may be cut off next week because we are not cooperating, handing over data for all the people who get SNAP so that we can, again, Trump says to root out waste, fraud, and abuse. His agricultural secretary says, I'm going to cut you off next week. Would you turn that data over?
I just hope that Trump gets a heart. I mean, this is just cruel. Really, it is. We have 140,000 people in this state who depend on SNAP benefits. I have been at many food banks in the last month, serving meals and supporting people, especially when SNAP was at risk because of the shutdown, and it's incredibly cruel. And I really hope Trump changes his mind on this.
Isn't it cruel on the taxpayer to pay for people who don't deserve food stamps and SNAP benefits? So how do you root that out?
I don't think
they said, give me the information. Again, we know there's fraud and abuse. Give us the information. You won't do it?
I don't think there are too many of them, Gene. I think there's much bigger fish to fry. And I think it is all a charade that the Trump administration is doing.
All right, hold it there. We'll be back with one more segment with Helena Foulkes, Democrat running for governor. Welcome back. Final segment with Helena Foulkes, Democrat running for governor, going up against Governor McKee in the primary. Maybe somebody else, but we don't know yet. Let's get to your tenure at CVS. That was a stormy topic for you last time around, particularly your presiding over the company during the opioid crisis. This is what the governor says. I'll let him do the fighting with you here because he's the guy who's going to bring this to you. Go ahead and roll the governor on the Helena and CVS and the opioid crisis.
I think the thing that we want people in Rhode Island to know that Helena Foulkes, during the time that she was in charge of CVS, helped fuel and profited from an opioid epidemic.
Want to fact check that? You did make profit. You weren't there when it was happening.
Yeah, I think that those are words of a desperate man in political season. And, first of all, I just want to say I'm really proud of CVS. CVS is a company that was founded in 1963 by two brothers in Woonsocket, becomes a Fortune 5 company, employs over 7,000 people.
Right.
Fortune 5 company and employs over 7,000 people in the state of Rhode Island. And so the governor's attacking that company. I think that this is an example of what leadership does look like, what I did. So when I became president of CVS in 2014, the opioid crisis was raging already. Sometimes you inherit a crisis, by the way, just like the governor likes to talk about the bridge. I inherited a crisis, which is the opioid epidemic.
You've never said that to me before.
And
is this a new tack that you're saying you inherited the opioid crisis?
This is what I've been saying very consistently. So the peak of the opioid dispensing was 2013. I come in 2014, and it is a real problem. And under my watch, we have almost a 40% reduction in opioids dispensed. That's because CVS does more than anyone in the country. I'll just give you one example. We cut off over 700 pill mill docs. And let me tell you, I've never had a family member affected by this, but as a mother of 4, I'm very, very hurt by all the people who have been affected, and I took my job very seriously. And by the way, the governor likes to say we put profits over people. During my watch, we also walked away from tobacco sales, $2 billion in tobacco sales.
And that was you.
Yes.
That was you. You were elevated to the president of CVS, but you were an up-and-coming executive. You knew what the company was up to. For you to say you inherited what?
Yeah, I did.
What you were a part of.
I was running CVS Retail in 2014, though. I had a job that was not connected to that before that time.
You are a top-level executive.
Yeah.
You know what the company is up to. You know the opioids. You know the sacklers. You inherited what you knew about all along. Isn't that a fair assumption?
And under my watch, we had almost a 40% reduction in opioids dispensed, more than anyone in the country. We had better results than anyone in the country, and I am very proud of that.
Okay. Have you been subpoenaed or have you been called to testify in any of the cases?
No, never been named.
Never been named. You've never been called to testify?
No.
Never been subpoenaed?
No.
Do you approve?
So this is an attack on CVS, not on Helena Foulkes, just to be clear.
Do you approve of the settlements that CVS has entered to pay this billions of dollars over time?
They made their own choice. I was gone when they made those settlements, and so that was a business decision on their part.
The governor has also gone after you for knowing, and I think he's suggesting you're close to Larry Summers of Epstein ill repute up at Harvard, who has just been disgraced, and of his own words, he's embarrassed. This is what the governor says about you and Larry Summers at Harvard. Go ahead and roll that for me, please.
You can't have it both ways. You can't use him as a validator for your campaign and then at the same time find out that he's connected with Epstein. You took thousands of dollars from him, send back the money, and also explain to the people why you're still close to a guy like that, like Larry Summers, which she's admitted that she's a close friend of.
Is he a close friend of yours?
You actually cut yourself off. I remember you even thought what
I
he
did.
said. Yeah,
I said
you thought,
lots of people are close to lots of people. You were on the board at Harvard. You know him from there. What does it have to do with it?
Well, actually, I've known Larry for over 30 years. He was my thesis advisor. I want to be very clear that Epstein is a vile human being. What he did was atrocious, disgusting. And I'm very disappointed with Larry, and I have donated the funds that I got from Larry Summers.
Oh, so you got rid of any of his money, it's back. Yep. And you're right, I did say to the governor in a follow-up that
yes, you did.
Were you being fair to her? You know a lot of people up there.
Right.
You're on the board at Harvard?
I was until 22.
Okay. What boards are you on now, other than Costco? Anything else?
Yeah, I'm on several boards. That's the work that I've been doing.
Right. Can you share them with me? I'm just curious. Save me a Google search.
I'm on 2 private boards and another public company board called Skillsoft.
Okay. I have just 40 seconds left. You want to give us your pitch? You want to give us the elevator? You got 25 seconds. Go ahead.
Well, I really feel very strongly that the people of Rhode Island deserve a competent leader who's going to work hard for them. They are feeling squeezed and priced out of this state, you know, and you look at housing, the #1 issue that people are feeling. We need to produce 24,000 more units, and we need executive leadership to make that happen, and a competent person who really cares.
You made it. That's 10 News Conference. Helena, thanks for coming in.
Thank you,
Good
Gene.
luck to you. Have a great weekend.